When you think of witches, what comes to mind? Maybe her? Maybe these funny ladies? Many believe in the powers of the supernatural, but if we lived years ago, we could be imprisoned for even talking about these kinds of things. It's time we break down the Salem witch trials. It's February 1692, and we're in the village of Salem, Massachusetts. The Puritans settled in Salem in 1626, and these were hard times for people. There was constant fighting between French settlers and Native Americans, and that left this community really isolated, and life was extremely strict for them. Relationships in the village were strained between neighbors, and they feared disease and starvation. Just think, no modern heating or electric, very little medicine, and food is very scarce. The Puritan religion was really one of the most important things to uphold at this time, and there was a lot of paranoia about the supernatural at this time. Culture and Puritan beliefs at that time were that women were inherently more sinful and more susceptible to damnation than men were. Women were deemed to be much more susceptible to seduction by the devil. They also said that women were weak-willed and had loose tongues. So it's the winter of 1692, and it was actually one of the coldest, most frigid winters on record, so the village was very on edge. One fateful day that winter, two cousins, 9-year-old Betty Paris and 11-year-old Abigail Williams, started exhibiting strange behavior. They were having fits and contorting their bodies. This spread, and 12 more girls started this bizarre, scary behavior too. They complained that their skin felt prickly and that spirits were touching them. The families had a doctor come examine the girls, and the doctor said that there was nothing physically wrong with them, but that they were under the hand of evil. This struck a huge chord with the Puritans, as it was a part of their belief that the devil would bring evil to the world through human agents, also known as witches. All heck broke loose, and 4 of those little girls actually accused 3 grown women of tormenting them. Little did they know that these accusations would go on to be life sentences for these women. So the 3 women that were accused by these young children were really outsiders in the community in Salem. Some were homeless, some were beggars, and some were just thought to be difficult, and many believe that this was a way to weed out those types of women. On February 29th, 3 women were accused by the authorities. One was a homeless Sarah Good, who was pregnant and had a young daughter at the time. Sarah Osborne was another woman arrested, and she had made many enemies in Salem through legal disputes and didn't attend church. That was a big no-no then. And the 3rd woman was Tituba, who was only known by her first name. Tituba was an enslaved woman who worked in one of the family's homes. Tituba was actually released after she falsely confessed that she did practice witchcraft under the orders of the 2 other women. Sarah Good's 4-year-old daughter was also imprisoned, and she later testified against her mom. Good's husband turned against her during the trials and said she was a witch or she would be one very quickly. Sarah Good's newborn passed after birth while she was in jail. Good was convicted, and then her life was ended by a jury. And Sarah Osborne passed in prison. Authorities were making arrests based off accusations of young children. Many made false confessions in order to save themselves. Authorities did not want to do diligent investigations. They wanted the accused to admit they did wrong, ask for forgiveness, and promise to never do witchcraft again. Their choices were to confess and be released, or deny and their lives would be taken. So basically, confession or not, you were guilty. By the spring of 1693, over 100 people had been imprisoned. According to the Boston Globe, 25 people's lives were taken. Even 2 dogs' lives were taken after being accused of participating in black magic. It wasn't until the wife of the governor of Massachusetts colony was accused that he suspended the trials. Charges were dropped and prisoners were released in May of 1693. Some believe that those young girls were suffering from hallucinations due to a fungus, but to date, the exact reason for their strange behavior that winter is unknown. The Salem witch trials are truly a cautionary tale of how dangerous mob mentality is, and also the power of fear in order to manipulate citizens. Today, Salem stands as a really beautiful town with a very violent history. You can even go visit the witch house, which is the only building left still standing from the trials. I really want to go.